Hey friends, welcome. I've seen several other minimalists do this exact kind of video, and so it got me excited to reflect back on things that I've changed and stopped doing on my minimalist journey. So the first one of my favorites, is that I've really stepped back from comparing myself to other people. Now, when I say that, I mean that as a YouTuber, I can easily compare myself to other YouTubers and what they're doing and their journeys and how I'm not maybe measuring up to what they're doing. But as minimalists, we can all compare ourselves too. When I give you a home tour or I show you my wardrobe, I'm sure you could easily say, oh, I have way too much. Why can't I declutter more? Or why doesn't my house look like that? But the thing is that comparing yourself to other people, one, doesn't help you at all because it's not an actionable thing that you are doing. It's just our judgment we put on either ourselves or other people. But what I've really started doing, which helps me a lot, is talking to myself in third person. So instead of saying, oh, I don't do that, or I can't have that, or my life doesn't look like that, I started talking to myself in third person. Becky, it's okay that you're different. Becky, it's okay that your journey is different, that your house looks different, that your family looks different, Becky. It's all good. And when you actually can take a step back and start talking to yourself in third person, it's almost like instead of you only being your one solo self, you're also your friend. And so I talk to myself in third person so that I can be a friend who can also have an outside perspective and talk myself out of comparing myself to other people's journeys. Number two is buying trendy accessories, shoes, clothing. And I can really think about the last time that I really did this. And that's when I got one of those bog bags. I guess this was probably when they first started on the market and they were cool, maybe 3 years ago. And I bought a littler one, not the huge one, but I bought a littler one. And then I realized when I had it that I didn't even like it. The straps kept falling, they were uncomfortable on me. I thought the bag was just too heavy. And so I remember being like, I sold it probably a week later and I basically made back all of my money because bog bags were super hot. I don't know if they still are, but back then they were. And I remember thinking, I've got to stop doing this. I have got to stop buying something because I see everyone else doing it and it's trendy and I jump on whatever train that is that's going because one, I never actually went into the store. I bought it online. So I never got to try out whether I liked it in particular. I was just thinking about what other people were doing. So something I've really stopped and slowed down and been much more intentional about is not jumping on the first thing, the coolest trendy thing that comes out and waiting to see if it's something that I'm really going to benefit from down the road. So of course, number 10 is my favorite. So you're going to have to keep hanging on, but these are all great. So number 3 is stockpiling extra. So stockpiling, meaning like going to Costco and buying tons and tons of excess. So if you know anything about my family, I am a family of 3 right now. My brother used to live here. He moved out. And so it's just me and my husband and my daughter and our 2 dogs. But I don't need to stockpile tons of things like I would if I had a family of 10. So every family is a little bit different, but my family of 3, we don't need 100 things of toilet paper. We don't need 100 cans of soup or really massive amounts of anything. We just don't need them. And I found that with our home, because it's an older home, it's from the 1960s, we don't have a lot of those extra places to store things. So one, it just takes up a lot of space. And two, stockpiling never really helped me because I found by the time, like if I got a bunch of shampoos because they were on sale, by the time I got to that last bottle, I didn't even want to use that product anymore. Maybe I wanted to change, but I never had the opportunity because I had so much stockpile of things. And stockpiling often, as people that I live in a neighborhood, I don't live in the middle of nowhere. I don't live in Alaska. So I don't need to stockpile things in the fear that I'm going to run out of something or the fear that I'm going to miss a sale. And number 4 goes right along with it. And if you're like me, this is probably something you needed to work on as well. So often I would go to the store, not necessarily have something on my list or even in mind, and I see something on sale and I buy it because I don't want to miss the sale. So something that I've stopped doing as a minimalist is chasing the sale. So needing to look at, I don't even know if they have them anymore, but in newspapers when I was growing up, they always had the advertisements like on a Sunday. And I used to love those things. I would look through all of them at my mom's house. She'd save them for me. And now I just don't, I don't do that. I know a lot of us look online. Sometimes I'll get those pings on Amazon if something I'd looked at went on sale, but I just don't feel the need to chase after the sale anymore because one, if I wasn't going to buy it when it was full price, I don't need it now that it's on sale. Also, what I found when I chase the sale, I'm just trying to get that dopamine hit of, ooh, I got $1 off, or I got, 2 for $5. Awesome deal. I'm just chasing that dopamine hit. I don't necessarily even need that item at all. Number 5 is constantly looking for the next best storage solution. So if you're anything like me, I used to love chasing the next best storage solution. I loved looking at what other people would do with their things, but I never had a really strong grasp of exactly what I needed. So I would buy all of these things, but then I wouldn't be using them, or I would find that they were too big or too small for whatever I actually needed, and I'd end up donating them and getting rid of them. So to save yourself from some of that heartache, slow down your buying of storage solutions and really live in the space first and think about what you actually need before you buy anything. Number 6 is buying single-use products. So that's something that I very much tried to slow down on. I'm not perfect, but being a minimalist has really showed me that buying water bottles are not necessary. Buying things like paper towels are not necessary. Buying napkins or buying plastic baggies are just not necessary. So having your water bottle with you all of the time, it's something that I had to build that habit because I often wouldn't bring my water bottle with me, and then I'd be thirsty and I'd buy a bottle while I was out. You have to build in some of these practices, but once you do, it's a no-brainer. I bring my water bottle wherever I go now. My daughter's always dying of thirst once we hit the car, so it helps out with that too. But then also there's so many baggies out there now that are reusable that actually works very, very well. And I will link the ones that I use below. All right, friends, we are almost done. And if you are enjoying learning about minimalism and decluttering, then this is a wonderful community to join here on Minimal Ease. So hit subscribe. And of course, always throw a heart emoji down below if you are in a decluttering, organizing, minimalist journey with the rest of us. Number 7 is I've stopped doing unnecessary appointments. Now, there are appointments that are important, like I always go to the dermatologist and I go to the dentist begrudgingly. Sorry if you're a dentist out there, but I have the hardest time finding a good dentist. But I've stopped getting excess haircuts, so I'll get like one a year. I've stopped going in to get my hair highlighted. I just do it myself, which I know some of you guys are like, you don't do a great job, but I do it myself. It saves a lot of money. It saves a lot of time. It's one of those things that I've never valued enough to pay the huge amount of money that I was paying. Another thing is that I just don't get my nails done. I know a lot of people really value getting their nails done, but I've just found that I don't mind keeping my nails basically just clear. Stopping unnecessary appointments, I feel like it's just saved me a lot of time, but also saved me, most importantly, a lot of money down the road. Number 8 goes along with a book that I am currently just finishing up, but it's an easy, amazing read, and that is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. So it's all about the little things in life that stress us out that really just aren't at the end of the day that important. So one thing that really hit me was how I used to really get stressed about what I was going to wear. So going to a party, a wedding, going out to eat, and maybe it's a nice occasion. Well, I used to overthink everything. I used to overpack everything if I was going to the beach, just in case of any situation I might be in, and I was nervous that I wouldn't have the perfect outfit. But what I've found now is that one, I've realized that most people could care less what I am wearing because they're more worried about themselves anyway. And also, it just doesn't matter that much. If you're going out with friends or you're going to a wedding, the people there are just so happy that you are there and enjoying their moment that they're not really worried about what you're wearing at all. There's so many things that I feel like I used to get upset because I thought other people would be judging me or other people would be upset about what I'm doing or other people are going to look at me weird. And really, we're all just so concerned about ourselves that it's not happening. It's not happening as much as we think it is in our head. The next thing that I stopped doing on this minimalist journey was I stopped keeping so many things that just didn't fit my personality or fit who I wanted to be. So we can talk anything about like old clothes that we've been hanging on to forever. I had an amazing subscriber, one of you guys, write me a comment about how you had lost like 100 pounds that you'd been trying to lose for 18 years and you'd been hanging on to all of these clothes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been hanging on to all of these clothes. And then finally, now that you've lost all that amazing weight, you're like, I want to go buy new clothes. I didn't even want these old clothes that I've been hanging on to for 18 years trying to fit into them. Styles have changed. And I'm just like, wow, that makes so much sense. How many of us are hanging on to things that we are hoping one day to fit in, are hoping that we'll wear that Lily Pulitzer loud and proud pattern because we think it's so beautiful, but it's just not who we are. And so we don't wear it, and it's been sitting in our closet forever. Well, today's the day, and I am giving you full permission to get rid of all of those things. Because one, when you do lose the weight or you do get where you want to be in life, most likely you're not going to want to look back. You're not going to want to go backwards and wear those things or bring out those things that you once loved, because that was a different part of the history of your life. So hanging on to things just in case down the road your personality or who you are might change is just weighing you down and not letting you move forward. And I think they also said something that I really love, and that is they said that all these things that we are hanging on to are just weighing us down. And it's like she couldn't get past being weighed down by all of this disappointment of not being able to fit in these clothes until she got rid of them all. And then look at where she is now. So keep that in mind if you're hanging on to a bunch of stuff. And number 10 is probably the best one yet. And that is that I've stopped worrying about pleasing other people so much. And so, I grew up being somebody who really wanted to please others. It was something that I was kind of ingrained with growing up, pleasing teachers, pleasing my parents, pleasing other people around me, making sure my friends were happy. And what I realized is that it was not healthy for me. It was toxic for me to always feel like I needed to please others. And that's really how I got into this whole mess anyway of having a house filled with tons and tons of things that I didn't actually want. It had nothing to do with what I wanted. It had everything to do with inviting people over and wanting to see that they were pleased with what I was doing with my house, that other people thought I was doing well, and I was living up to what their expectations were. And now that I've released that and I've gotten rid of over 80% of the things that I own in my house, I just don't feel the need to live up to other people's expectations of myself, to please them with my house. If other people, like my family, come over and they say things about my house, which they have before, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect what I'm going to do with my life, because I'm no longer feeling the need to please other people with the environment that pleases me. So if you have one walk away, just know that if people are coming over and they're making comments about how you live your life, or they're making comments about why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? Yes, that does kind of sting. But are you going to change your life in order for that one person who came over to your house who didn't approve? Are you going to change your life for them, or are you going to change your life because it makes you happy and it brings you joy and it makes you calm and peaceful in your environment? I want you to really think about that, because that really helped me to stop worrying about pleasing other people so much, is because my environment pleases me, it pleases my husband, it pleases my daughter, and those are the people that it matters for. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this, and I really hope that you join the journey here of minimalism, because it has been the one biggest, best thing that I've ever done for myself. And so I can only hope that you will join it with me. All right, guys, I will see you guys again very soon.